Wiggins dropped 47 against the Lakers. Did a lot of damage there, but 17 out of 22 of his attempts were at the line. Got a little notice from D'Angelo Russell.
I feel like anybody in this league is capable of doing that when you go to the free throw line that many times. It just makes the game easy for you, especially when you can score the ball. You see it go in a few times. The rim seems like an ocean out there, you know, so.
Ooh, bad look for D'Angelo Russell there, Steve?
Yeah, he was salty. Basically, what we said was we couldn't stop him tonight, so we kept fouling him, and we helped him get 47.
Anyone in the league can do it, you do it.
You do it.
Go ahead.
Lou had 45, the only one on the team.
Although even Luke Walton kind of took a little dig. But Andrew Wiggins, man, looks good out there. Guys, we had a little revenge special yesterday. Serge Ibaka going against his old team. Game winner in the final seconds. Even Russell Westbrook's monster triple-double, not enough to save the Thunder. So, I mean, how concerned should OKC fans be when he plays like this and they're not winning? Three losses in a row.
As concerned as when I told them after you beat the Sixers, the Lakers, and the Suns with him playing like that, and everyone's surprised and excited. Again, you can't play like that if that's how you win.
You can't sustain that. He needs help. It's obvious. Yeah. We play a game like that and don't win. He needs help.
All right. You know, the Jump had a great time in our nation's capital. We went behind the scenes with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They visited the White House. I spoke with President Obama, LeBron, and then I went to a Washington Wizards game.
Oh, man.
Just in case you haven't noticed, at 2-7, the Wizards not exactly playing beautiful basketball right now. In the game I saw, Washington was outpaced, overwhelmed, as John Wall clearly felt he had to win the whole thing by himself.
Wizards game.
Now, in all fairness, Bradley Beal was hurt that night and not playing. Although, also in all fairness, you can't evaluate the Wizards without acknowledging Bradley Beal is going to be out hurt sometimes. It's something you got to plan for, and really, that's the biggest issue with Washington's team right now. It is very hard to see their plan. This is an organization that for years seemed to be banking on Kevin Durant wanting to come home to the D.C. area and play for them. They hired KD's high school coach. Remember that? He's still on the bench. Yep. They hired KD's longtime pro coach, Scotty Brooks, who in my book is way too smart to even have to deal with the appearance of being used as bait. They left a bunch of cap room clear, all for this past summer. The problem is that anyone with ears was aware Kevin Durant had absolutely no interest in going there. Kevin spoke publicly about how all the KD to DC chants bothered him. His camp let it leak that every time he went back to Washington, he was besieged with extended family and hangers-on, and they let everyone know it made him uncomfortable. So it was a surprise when the Wizards seemed, surprised that KD didn't even want to take a meeting with them in July. The Wizards then checked down to chasing Al Horford, and when that didn't happen, they spent more than $30 million upgrading their bench. And how has that worked out? Well, the guy they're paying $16 million a year has yet to play because of a preseason injury. And the bench play, well, it's been so bad. This weekend, Washington's own Marcin Gortat called them out, saying, quote, "I think we've got one of the worst benches in the league right now." Now, I'm all for straight talk. I do think it is better for the Wizards to be honest about their problems instead of just whistling and pretending everything is fine. But, is Gortat out of line? Those comments were pretty harsh.
Yeah, regardless of whether they were factual or not.
The numbers do back him up. We should
they are
one
of the worst. There are a couple. My guy John Schumann, NBA.com, listed the ones that were worse. Said, how do they feel? I don't know. But regardless whether it's factual or not, it's not constructive, right? It doesn't help any. It's not like guys walk into that locker room like, oh, you know what, March? You were right. But this is who this dude is, man. I remember we talked about this a couple of weeks ago with the...
you had him in Phoenix.
Yeah, with the must-win game he talked about. And I said, we had March in Phoenix, and this dude doesn't have a filter. But it's not even like well-thought-out thoughts. It's just whatever he happens to be feeling at that moment, he's going to start talking. And we had an incident in Phoenix where we had an incident on the court with a referee.
Right.
It was a big issue. We were going to protest with the league, but we didn't want any sort of comments to mess that up. So we instructed everybody in the locker room. The press is going to come in here. Don't say anything. They ask you about it, just say no comment, next question, whatever. They walk in. Everybody went to his locker first because they know
he going against the grain.
They asked him. He said, next question. They asked a couple other questions. Come back. So they asked him again. He says, no comment. You get another question. Third time they ask him, say, Marsh, what do you think about what happened out there? I don't know how this and everyone's like, stop him, get his microphone off or whatever.
He says stuff.
That's who he is.
The whole team's 2-7.
Yes.
So you can't just single out the bench. And 9 out of 10 times, you put more pressure on the bench when the starting five are not playing well. At the end of the day, the teammates should be upset. You should not attack it. Yes, you should not attack your teammates like that, especially publicly when you're not playing well and as a team you're sucking.
Right.
So you need to get better as a team and don't just single out the bench, because 9 out of 10 times when the bench has to come in and play well, it's because the starters got up to a bad start.
You're not Shaq, right?
Well, okay, but I mean, you were someone who told it like it is, and obviously media people love it, as you noted. We all gather around the locker, the guy who tells it like it is. So the line for you is what? You do want to be honest, and you do want to sort of tell the truth, but not when it's sort of cutting under your own teammates.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, these are people you're going to war with. Obviously, you want to be honest, and you want to let everybody know, hey, we suck, and we have to get better as a team. But singling people out when you're probably not doing your job is not the way to do it.
So just want to point out, Steven Jackson is the most truthful man I've ever met in my life, but at the same time, he's also one of the best teammates everywhere. So that's where that line is.
And I do think you're right. I think fans, they don't want to hear everything's fine. It's just maybe how you say that. Let's move on to Greg Oden, also honest. Lots of talk this weekend about what might have been after Oden unburdened himself during this interview with ESPN's Jeff Goodman.
I'll be remembered as the biggest bust in NBA history, but I can't do nothing about that.
How do you want to be remembered?
As a good guy with a lot of potential.
That's honest stuff. Last night, Kevin Durant also chimed in. Remember, he's the player who was chosen after Oden in the 2007 draft. And, well, he couldn't disagree more. He said, that's nonsense. In order for you to be a bust, you have to actually play and show people that you progressed or didn't, I guess, as a player. He didn't get a chance to. I mean, what was your reaction to Oden calling himself the biggest bust?
Honestly, I'm with Kevin Durant. I have one rule when it comes to this kind of stuff. If your time on this court was robbed because of injuries, I'm not going to hold that against you. Grant Hill's still one of the greatest players of all time to me. Bobby Hurley, guys like Penny, those guys, I'm never going to hold against them because they got hurt. The busts to me are guys that you had every opportunity to show what you were worth, and you weren't worth a damn.
Ola Candy.
There you go. That's a name right there. Adam Morrison's a name. But the biggest bust of all time?
Who's your number one?
You guys don't even know this guy. LaRue Martin. He was taken #1 overall in '72. There he is by the Portland Trailblazers.
This is officially before my time.
Exactly. My time, too. He played 4 seasons in this league. He was he averaged about 6 points a game. But my favorite thing about him is these were the guys that were taken in the draft after him.
Wow.
Any of those names look familiar?
J, number 12.
Like, think about that. Those new Bob McAdoo, Paul Westphal, Dr. J, 3 Hall of Famers.
Right. Well, part of the thing, too, the word bust has that connotation you're talking about. People who didn't work hard enough, didn't do, as you said, Stephen, with sort of what their talent is. But I do think what he's kind of, in his mind, saying is I had the most potential and sort of it faltered the most.
Well, you kind of feel like you're a bust when you try to reach the potential that others set for you.
Right.
When you reach your own potential and feel you comfortable in your own skin, you can't be a bust. But people expected so much from him, especially how big he was coming into the league. They just expected him to be dominant. But we say the same thing about Ola Candy, but he was injured, so it's kind of hard to say he was a bust.
Let me tell you something. This dude was dominant as a high school player. He was dominant as a college player. If he had been healthy, I fully believe he would have been dominant as an NBA player. He was that good.
I have empathy for him feeling this way about himself, though, because you're right. He was so good so early that obviously the picture of himself, of who he was, was going to be this person. And because it didn't happen, he has to feel like a balloon that got the air popped out of it. I don't know. Speaking of potential and whether they're living up to it, the Knicks, see how I did that there? That was pretty good, right?
I like that.
3 games under 500. And now maybe it's the refs' fault? Yeah. Carmelo Anthony got ejected by referee Tony Brothers on Friday night and said he believes that Brothers has something against him. So did Lala, by the way, but that's a whole different conversation. Then there's Derrick Rose, who said he doesn't get calls because he was told he jumps into people. Stacks, should Melo and the Knicks stop complaining about the refs, or is this good, like, politicking with the league?
It's a little bit of both. At the end of the day, you can't complain to the refs and can't blame them for losing. At the end of the day, you have to go out there and win the game. Refs can't dictate games, but you have to go out there and play and not worry about it. On another note, every NBA player has one referee in their career that they just don't get along with.
So this is true, by the way.
No, this is totally true.
Okay.
Every NBA player has one ref that they just can't see eye to eye with. You have that feeling where he's picking on you, or you have that feeling where he's overlooking your calls. It's just one guy. I honestly like Tony, but Tony's one of those guys, he's straightforward. He doesn't show any favoritism, and you got to respect that.
Who was your guy? Who was the ref that you...
I don't
Or
even
was
remember.
there
How much time we got? How much time we got?
I need to list the names.
Right, it is. Start
it's an
checking
all-star
people
team
off.
of them.
Exactly.
You know, I agree with these guys 100%. It's the refs' fault. It's the refs' fault that the Knicks have the worst defense in the league. It's the refs' fault that they decided to fix the worst defense in the league by putting Kurt Rambis,
I know where this is going.
who coached the 27th, 28th, and 29th worst defenses in the league. It's the refs' fault that they have the third worst net rating in the league. It's the refs' fault that they say they're going to run triangle, but they're not going to run triangle, but they kind of want to triangle, but they don't want to run triangle. It's the refs' fault that Phil Jackson keeps meddling with Jeff Hornacek and every other coach. It's all the refs' fault. If it weren't for the refs, Knicks would be the best team in the league.
And I'll be signed.
Champions. Speaking of Phil Jackson, he talked to the great Jackie McMullen, our ESPN colleague, and he gave her this quote: "Do I have to win a championship before I feel I have done the job I've been asked to do, which is to bring this group back to that competitive level? No, I don't. We're starting to make progress."
Progress on paper. You haven't made progress on the court.
Right.
And that's what people want to see. You know, no progress on the court, then you really haven't done nothing.
Yo, they're closer to making progresso than they are making progress. You kidding? Yo, progress? Progress. Like, how do you come out and say that? Like, well, at least wait till you 500, and then you can say we're making progress.
Right.
But you can't have the worst defense in the NBA and then appoint a dude who's never had anything better than.
Just circles back to this.
I'm
for
just
you.
saying, like, but it's like nothing they do is progress. Because you went out and bought some names, that's progress.
Well,
because Joakim Noah hit half a knee and half a shoulder, said yes to $70 million. Congratulations, you made progress. Get out of here, man.
Well, I mean, they have more hope.
The guy lives in a bubble.
Yeah, well.
He lives in a fantasy land.
He also told Jackie in that piece that he didn't vote, and I have a problem with that. So there you go. Moving on. We'll stop there for a minute. But still to come on the jump, Steph Curry throws a team party, and, well, now I want balloons. We will discuss the mind tricks at play there. But first, check Kobe Bryant from over the weekend, spilling how his old Phil Jackson Lakers used to mind trick opponents.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to double team the guy that hasn't gotten a max contract yet. We're not going to let him get a shot off. And then we're going to single cover the guy that has the max contract. And then watch the guy that doesn't have the max contract and complain about not getting the ball all night long and just watch them divide each other. Right? And those are little subtle things that we would do.
The Jump is brought to you by Wendy's, always fresh, never frozen beef.
Still recovered. Trying to stay with Booker. And KG and McCaw got a piece. Got numbers. Iguodala to the rim. And Booker will get the freebie. No! Durant saved it! Curry three. Good! Well, that's the most exciting 40 seconds in the game.
Of course, ended with that Steph shot. There was no other way that was possibly going to end. That was amazing. Welcome back. The Warriors did end up winning that whole, defense optional game against the Suns yesterday. But let's not forget what else they did over the weekend. Yep, we're not tired of talking about it. Steph Curry hosted a team party where the theme was supervillains. There were balloons. There was a custom Snapchat filter. There was JaVale McGee flying a drone, which really is that so smart. But anyway, Steven, what do you think of the supervillains party?
I love the Gucci Man tattoo on Iguodala. I think that was pretty cool. But at the end of the day, I think it's good that they're feeding into it. They're playing along with it. Their identity on the court is established already.
Yeah.
So by the fact that they're entertaining and making jokes out of it, I think it's just fun bringing the team closer together. It's nothing big deal. I'm glad that they're embracing it and running with it.
I didn't like it, man.
Come on.
But you're a villain.
I'm a super villain, but I don't have signs to let people know that I'm a super villain.
You don't have to say, like, welcome to my lair.
Yeah, I'm just a super villain. You know it when I walk in the room,
Right.
when I laugh, when I twirl my mustache. You know I'm a super villain. I don't need to have like a Snapchat filter to let you know that I'm a super
You don't
villain.
even have music.
But I
But you know what it is, Rachel?
don't want to let you in on something, but this was a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
I know, but like the idea that we have to make jokes about it and all that, I think it's kind of like, are you sensitive? sensitive about it? Are you sensitive over the fact that people don't like you?
I actually think Steven has a great point. When the Heat all came together and it was, should we be villains, should we not be villains?
Right.
And LeBron was like, I'm making a list of everyone who said bad things about me and all of that stuff. Like, they hadn't formed an identity as a team yet. So the question was, were they really going to try to be this? You're right. These guys know who they are. They're just sort of a fun group, and this is an extension of that.
I feel like the whole thing was so JaVale McGee could play with a drone. That was the whole party, was just so he could have that drone and take pictures.
I want to know why I didn't get balloons. You came in here with some good music today, by the way, but you did not bring balloons, and really...
I got to do everything
we
around here?
We got to talk about that.
Steve, what's up, man?
That's all I got.